everybody. Welcome to the final Friday LFC Focus of the 21-22 season. I can't believe I'm saying that, especially after 13th of August, we had the start of the Premier League season. And yes, we are at the final weekend of the season, but I'm delighted to welcome two of my regular panelists. We haven't had him for a while, so it is nice to see Mr. Connor Niblett back from the Cup Council. How are you, Connor?
I'm very good, thank you, mate. Decided to have a strike for the last 2 weeks. No Friday podcast for me. No, but all joking aside. It's end of the Premier League season this weekend. It's going to be either it's going to be crazy either way. But if Liverpool win the title, it's going to be even more crazy, isn't it? But yeah. I'm very good, mate. Looking forward to tonight's show.
Yeah, I am as well. And of course, we've got him back as well, Mr. Dan from the Mighty Res Television. How are you, Dan?
Hi, Doug. Hi, Connor. Hi, everyone in the chat. Yeah, I'm absolutely fine, mate. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the weekend. Can we win the league? Probably not, but it's nice to have a dream, isn't it? And it's exciting times at the moment, isn't it, for Liverpool? Obviously, FA Cup winners last week as well.
Aye, never say never. Say never when it comes to the final day. Anyway, Tejas in. Hello, Tejas. Thank you for tuning in. Liz Golden saying have a great stream. And Liz, thank you so much for the super chat. You did not have to send me a super chat, but thank you very much. Douglas the Lion-Hearted. She absolutely loves calling me Douglas the Lion-Hearted. I haven't seen it as well. Evening, Gary. And Sebastian, next season, mate. Next season, there will be a chance to get on to the show next season. But we are here. We are here because it's the last show of the season. We're going to do the player ratings. Now, everyone will have remembered the video that we did back in, I think, January, I think it was, when we all did the player ratings. I know Dan wasn't here. Sophie and Jack were here. So, yeah, this is going to be very, very interesting. So, what we are going to do is we will be doing the two goalkeepers that have obviously played the most of the season. We'll be going through the fullbacks. We'll be going through the defenders. We'll be going through the midfielders, and of course, we'll be going through the forwards. And I've also had to add Mr. Luis Diaz as well. So this is going to be very, very interesting. So, without further ado, we will start with the goalkeepers. Alisson Becker. Connor, back in January, you gave Alisson an 8. What would you give Mr. Alisson Becker for the season?
Is it too early to give a 10?
No?
For me, it's 10 out of 10. I think the reason why I give Ali an 8, I think we just did... Was it Spurs or like a game that Ali made a mistake? Or
he made a mistake that let Son score, didn't he?
Yeah, and I think that's why I give him an 8, because there was a bit of inconsistencies. But since then, he's been, without doubt, the best keeper in the world.
Oh yeah,
not even a doubt in the Premier League. And for me, no one else has been better. 1v1s, Alisson is the best. In the world, distribution, constantly good, and so on. But yeah, for me, Ali, 10 straight away.
10 straight away. Dan, what would you give Alisson?
I'd actually sort of agree perfectly with Connor. I was just thinking about this before, and I'd give him an 8 for the first half of the season, because you're right, he did make a couple of mistakes. But I'd give him a 10 for the second half, so that balance out to a 9.
9, yep. That's absolutely fine. Yep, I gave him an 8 as well, and yeah, I'm giving him a 10 for the end of the season as well. I just think he has just been superb, and where would we be without Alisson Becker as well? Because I think if you look at it as well, there's not many goalkeepers that I see that have that presence one-on-ones. Like I used to like Peter Schmeichel used to be very, very good at one-on-ones, but as a all-round goalkeeper, I just think Alisson Becker for me just pips it. And yes, he is undoubtedly the best keeper in the league by far. Especially Manchester City fans wanting Henderson gone, which is quite funny to say the very, very least. But yeah, for me, Alisson definitely a 10 at the end of the season. So let's see what some of you are saying for the for Alisson as well. Liz Gordon says, "What is important that we still have a chance to win the league?" Yeah, absolutely. And we've obviously got the Champions League coming up very soon as well. Have a load to Jeannie. Hope you're good. Alisson 10, Kelleher 8. Well, we will get to Kelleher as well. We're not going to go to Alice, Adrian, or Loris Karius or Marcelo Pitaluga because none of them have played. Guy Richards going for an 11 out of 10. That's all right. Hi, Sebastian, Genie, and Gary, says Liz. Alisson 9, Kelleher 9. Okay. Liz Golden 9. Carries for the win. Hello, Diz. Lil Vivi says Alisson 9, Kelleher 9. Hey Les, hello Brian, thank you for tuning in. Hope you are good, mate. 9.5, Ali, interesting. Ali 9.5. So a few people going for 9.5s, but most of them going for either a 10 or a 9. So very, very interesting. Yes, Caoimhin Kelleher. Sorry, Cian, if you are watching, or Brian. I know you are Irish, so I do apologise. At the start of the season, Connor, you gave Kelleher an 8. I have to say that Kelleher has been a penalty kick hero because he did score the winning goal in the penalty shootout in the League Cup. I just think you want an understudy to have to be a very, very good goalkeeper. Kelleher has proven this season that he is right up to test Alisson. What would you give Kelleher for the season?
It's so hard, isn't it, with Kelleher? Because every single time he's been called upon, he's been brilliant for Liverpool. I'd probably go. I went with 8 earlier on the season. I don't think he's played at all since then. I would say.
Think so.
Did we do it before the Carabao Cup final? Because it was straight up 10 for that. I'd probably give him a 9, just because
9
throughout the season, he's been there. And plus, if it come to the occasion of Ali, potentially wasn't available, then before we would be worried with Karius and Adrian and Mignolet back in the past. But with Kelleher, if he just walks into the team, you're not worried so much. You're disappointed that Ali isn't there. But with Kelleher, not worried. So yeah, 9.
9, Dan. What about you for Kelleher?
Yeah, he's quite difficult to rate, isn't he? Because he obviously hasn't played that much. But when he has played, he's been absolutely faultless. So, and obviously he was the hero of the cup final. So I'd give him an 8.
Yeah, I think that is quite honestly what I would give him as well. I just think that Kelleher, whenever he's been asked to come in for Alisson, whenever he's obviously been injured, I think he's been very, very good. So yeah, for me, it has to be an 8 as well. Lil Vivi, I'm sorry, I did not realise you were Irish too, but I do appreciate you joining in. Alisson, without that goal he scored last season, we would not be in this position. No, 100%. Absolutely 100%. Kelleher 8.5, says Liz. Liz, you know me so well. Kelleher 8 has been very good when he has played. Yeah, Kelleher has been fantastic. 9 extra point for that penalty shootout. Yeah, everyone will look back at that penalty shootout for once. So yeah, I think we're all in agreement for there. And yeah, there's no point in rating Adrian, Loris Karius, and Marcelo Pitaluga because one, Karius is going. We all know that I think he's been one of the ones that's been told he's got.
Can I interrupt? Can I give Loris Karius 10 for the workout plan that he's been undertaken because he's absolutely hench now, isn't he?
He is. Yeah.
I don't know whether it's going to improve his goalkeeping skills. Probably not. But yeah, he's certainly bulked up. So 10 for that.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, I know I don't want to overrun the show. Has he played any football for anyone this season?
No,
Karius, I don't think so.
Time. He's literally been the warm-up boy for the whole season.
Yeah,
that's just crazy, isn't it?
Was he on the bit? No, actually, he hasn't been on any benches this season.
There was talk, wasn't there, at one stage he was going to play?
Yeah, Shrewsbury Town, I think, or Cardiff City.
It's when COVID hit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we thought that literally all the goalkeeping department was gone.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Adrian gets points for supporting the team on social media. That's quite funny. Hello, Nippon. Thank you very much for tuning in, as always, mate. Appreciate it, as always. Now, we will go to the fullbacks. Now, let's start with, obviously, we'll start with Joe Gomez. Now, Connor, at the start of the season, you give Joe Gomez a 5. I have to say, he's been one of our most improved players recently, Joe Gomez. What would you give Gomez now?
Probably give Joe an 8. Again, I think the reason why I gave him a 5 was because I think he played literally about like 17 minutes of football around January time. So it's very hard to give people, a rank for it. But, he's had good, he's played well this season when called upon, especially at right back. Games against, Norwich and Nottingham Forest in the Cup. Obviously when he went down against Southampton, you worry straight away because of his injury record. And thankfully, it looks like he's going to be okay for the Champions League final, which is great for him. But yeah, again, it's one of these things, especially with the backups this season where they haven't played so many minutes, but when they have played, they've been brilliant. So yeah, give 8 for Joe Gomez, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. I agree on an 8. Dan, Gomez?
I'm because he hasn't played that much, I'm not going to be able to give him such a high rating. I'm going to give him a 6. I think he's done well in some of the games he's played. And he's sort of reinventing himself, isn't he, as a bit of a backup right back, which is fine, and hopefully he'll be able to push on from that next season, and maybe be a decent deputy for Trent, and obviously allow Trent to be rotated a little bit more, possibly. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's
just for the lack of playing time. I can't go too much higher than the 6.
That's fair. I think it's definitely in between 6, 7, and 8. If I'm being honest, because I think if you look at Gomez, yes, I know he has been injured a lot recently, but to see him go down against Southampton was very, very worrying, and hopefully he's okay as well. But I do think next season he is going to be Trent's understudy at right back. I think he's proven that he can actually play at right back. And he had that assist. I can't remember who it was against, but he played the ball into
Norwich,
Jota, Norwich. And Jota got on the end of it. So, if he is practicing with Trent Alexander-Arnold, that can only be a very, very good thing. And I have to say, I think he's a lot better at full back than I think he is at centre back. But that's obviously just me. Let's see what some of you are saying for Gomez. I read that. Karis has got the current roster. No, he is not. Adrian supports the team on social media, and that's what he does best. So 8 for that. Gomez 9, says Sebastian. Interesting. Big up Nippon. Joel Gomez, every time he plays this season, it's 100% a 9. Interesting. Gomez hasn't let us down anytime he's played, so it has to be at least a 7. Yep, I would agree. Gomez 7, he has had some good moments, though. Yeah, he has. He has had some very, very good moments. Still needs to score, though. I think be a bit of a rarity if he did actually score a goal. But evening, Chris. Hope you're good. I know you are. Are you currently on the way down to Stranraer, or is that tomorrow? I could be completely wrong about that. But Chris. Hope you're good. Hope the job is treating you well. Hiya, Chris. And Gomez 7.5. I think we'll have offers for Joe Gomez, so there might be a decision for him in the summer. Yeah, especially with the young Aberdeen right back, Calvin Ramsey, who could potentially be coming in. Kostas Tsimikas. Now, we were all in agreement here that he was an 8.5 at the start of the season. But I have to say, whenever Kostas Tsimikas has actually played for us, he has just not let anybody down. And obviously, penalty kick winner in the FA Cup. So I like the fact that we've had Kelleher and we've had Tsimikas, who have both scored a winning penalty in these cup finals. But for me, Kostas Tsimikas hasn't put a foot wrong. I just think whenever Robbo is not there, Kostas is just slots in. So for me, it's 9.5 for Kostas. Connor?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'd agree, mate. For me though, I'd give him a 9.
9?
Probably it would be a 10 just for the penalty take itself, the FA Cup final. But I think that, again, it's like you say, mate, it's the fact that when Robbo isn't there, and like we spoke about Kelleher, there isn't a worry there. But that's what great teams have, great backups. And, he's, of course, the Greek Scouser, or the Scouser Greek, like he likes to be called. But it's great, isn't it? The fact that, how many years we've had, pretty poor fullbacks. And now just with the list here, Liverpool have very, very good fullbacks, in backup as well. But yeah, every single time he's played, he's been brilliant for us. And yeah, a 10 for the penalty shootout, but for me, it'd be 9.
Yeah, Dan, what were you giving our Greek Scouser?
Yeah, I was near for the last one, so I will stick with an 8.5, although I didn't give him an 8.5 last time. I give him an 8 and then 0.5 for the penalty.
I like that. Yeah, definitely. I just he's one of our unsung heroes, but there's been so many this season, you'd have to say, as well. Yeah, there's a lot of people going for highs for Kostas. It doesn't really surprise me. Oh, that's on Monday, says Chris. Okay. Oh, well, you've still got a holiday to look forward to anyway. Alisson 10, Kelleher 9. Very interesting. Kostas, here we go, 9.5, says Liz. 10 for Sebastian. 9 for the Greek Scouser, says Jeannie. 9 for Tsimikas, FA Cup legend now. Yep, he certainly is. I've watched that Kostas Peno at least 25 times already. Yeah, I have as well. To be honest with you. Gomez 7, says Chris, and Tsimikas 9 never lets us down. No, definitely not. Andy Robertson, Connor, at the start of the season, you gave Andy Robertson a 7.5. What have you made of Andy this season?
I think, first half of the season, obviously, did struggle to come back from that. Was it ankle injury that he suffered in pre-season, which of course allowed Kostas to have, I think it was.
Were you at that game, the Athletic Bilbao game?
Yeah, I was. I thought he broke his leg at the time because it looked pretty awful. But it's again, this is exactly the same with Alisson. Obviously very, very good when he is playing, but then the second half of the season he's been, tremendous. For me, it's a 9 for Robbo. I think, him and Kostas have been brilliant on that side this year. But I think second half of the season, Robbo's been nothing short of brilliant. Can't think of a bad game he's had. But yeah, for me, 9.
9, Dan?
Yeah, he's Mr. Reliable, isn't he? And I was just thinking then, when Connor's saying he's also struggled a little bit at the start of the season, and he's come into his own. There does seem to be a common theme, I think, with us sometimes. With a lot of our players, we sort of grind through the gears, and then once we hit top speed, we just plough on. But yeah, I'll give him a 9. Andy Robertson, I think he's had another awesome season, and the amount of assists again is absolutely different class.
Yeah, definitely. I absolutely agree with everybody. I think it's definitely a 9. I think as well, Robertson is one of those players who never really tires, but Scottish men don't really ever tire, and Andy Robertson is one of them. Scottish Braveheart is what we call him up here in Scotland. 9 for Robo, says Brian. Robertson 9, says Chris. Robbo 8.5 overall, some days 9.5. Oopsie daisy. He's relentless. Yeah, he is relentless. Robbo 10, red card against Spuds equals 9.5. Yeah, that was very stupid. But then again, Harry Kane should have been sent off at that point as well. Actually, I'll give Alisson 9 due to mistake away at West Ham, but apart from that, kept us in contention of winning trophies. That's absolutely fine. And Robbo 8.5. Yes, very, very interesting there as well. And the next one we have is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Connor, you give him 9.5 for the start of the season. He's just got better and better and better since then. Yeah,
it's another 10 for me. Trent's been brilliant this season, by far the best right back in the world, even though, he's been compared with the likes of, first of all, Wan-Bissaka, then it was Reece James, then it was Cancelo, then it was Hakimi. Every single fullback you can think of, he's been linked with, and compared against. And Trent just beats everyone, doesn't he? Unbelievable. Yeah. Everyone says, Trent has that weakness defensively, and you look at it. This season in particular, he's been brilliant defensively. He's had the one or two moments, but again, everything that he offers, assists, goals, the passing, in the FA Cup especially, that, Beckham-esque, hit for Luis Diaz to go through.
Yeah.
If that was a goal, that'd be one of the goals of the season. But yeah, 10 for me for Trent. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, Dan?
Yeah, I'm just reluctant to give anyone a 10, although they probably deserve it. So I'm just going to go for 9.5 for Trent. He's been absolutely imperious, hasn't he, again? As Connor sort of alluded to, whenever anyone else's team has a decent, if any else's right back has a decent game, the fans are doing the whole Trent come outside stuff, aren't they, on social media? And you don't have to see Wan-Bissaka. Yes, he's been put up for sale now, hasn't he, by Man United, which just shows you the consistency it's Trent, Yeah, brilliant, 9.5. And I like the way now he's starting to almost push almost into midfield, isn't he? Sort of coming inside, isn't he? And almost playing in like a quarterback role. It's like another little tweak on the system, and it's paying dividends. Yeah, brilliant. And by the way, when people say he can't defend, he was absolutely brilliant defensively, wasn't he, last week as well? The cup final.
It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing, for sure. Trent 10, so Sebastian. Genie going for a 10. Trent Alexander-Arnold 9.5. Arnold 9. Trent 9.5. Arnold is the best right back with defensive stats. What does that tell you? Yep, every rival fan will be looking at that and saying, he can't defend, he can't defend. But yeah, he was imperious in the FA Cup final. Don't worry, I've gone for a 10 for someone. Oh, interesting. Trent and Robbo, best player in the business. Not someone you probably don't expect to give a 10. Oh, geez. Oh, I wonder now. Wow. 27 clean sheets this season. The haters can F right off. Yes, absolutely. So we've done goalkeepers, we've done fullbacks. Now it is on to our, terrific trio, I think is safe to say. Virgil Van Dijk. At the start of the season, Connor, you give him an 8.5. What are you giving Virg for the end of the season?
It's so hard because there's two by that I want to give 10s, but yeah, I'm gonna give Virgil a 10. It's so funny how he come back from that knee injury and just become the best centre back in the world yet again. Yeah. It's like if he didn't skip a beat, and people go, oh well, Ruben Diaz, he's the one that can, challenge Van Dijk for it. Ruben Diaz is shite compared to Virgil van Dijk. Like, honest to God, like Van Dijk, just everything, and especially, the games against, Inter Milan, when Dzeko just looks at him and stops running, Sterling as well, and just everything, come back straight away from that injury, and we all thought he might have took him a bit of time, and it did in some sense, to come back to, Virgil van Dijk being at his peak level. Yeah. Took him about, 4 or 5 months, but since then he's been nothing short of brilliance. And again, 10 with Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah, Dan?
Yeah, 10, mate. Not more that I could add. What Connor's said, 10.
10. Yeah, 10s across the board. Virgil van Dijk has just returned, and I mean, there was one game in particular, the Manchester City game, where Sterling's completely running at him, and Virgil's like, "Oh, get away!" Just brushes him aside. Absolutely brilliant from.
The one little thing I will say as well, Doug, is the Phil Coutinho move. Where fair play. Yeah. He skillfully gets past Virgil, and then within 2 seconds, Virgil's right next to him again, taking the ball off of him. Like that is just so good, man.
Yeah,
but of course, the haters, Connor, the haters on Twitter edited that bit, didn't he? That he got back. And it was like,
that's ridiculous. That
well, he did that years ago, didn't he? When Nicola Pepe finally was the first player to beat him for about 3 years, but they edited it out that like Van all of them.
Yeah, that is very true. VVD 9.5, Chris Welsh scored for Van Dijk 9. VVD 9.9999999999. Well, interesting. VVD is 10. Pound for pound, VVD is the best player in the world. Gomez is better than Diaz, in my honest opinion, says Genie. I couldn't argue there. Virgil makes it look easy, says Liz. Now to undoubtedly the best defensive signing this season. Everyone has said, Ben White's going to be amazing. Rafa Varane is going to be amazing. Ibrahima Konate. It's 36 million. Enough said. Konate, Connor, you gave him a 7 to start at the start of the season. What would you give Ibu? Big Ibu. Because he has been phenomenal.
Yeah, he's been absolutely brilliant, hasn't he? What is it? 20, was it 27 games, I think, now it is for Liverpool, and he's still unbeaten in a Liverpool shirt, which is, brilliant. For me, 9. 22 years of age. For me, I think he starts the Champions League final. That might be a big shout for me, but I think he's been brilliant. And like you said, mate, the fact that everyone this season was, Upamecano's going to Bayern, Varane's going to Manchester United, them two will be, brilliant. And we all joked, didn't we, at the start of the season, saying, Ibu's going to be the best French centre back in the Premier League. And by God, is he? The only disappointing thing it is for Ibu is the fact that, more on a personal side for him, the fact he's not in that French squad. I think it's shocking.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous, the fact that Varane's there and he's not. I know Varane's their number one centre off and that, but again, I don't get how he's not in that team. But yeah, in terms of Liverpool, he's been nothing short of brilliant. 22 years of age, and I cannot wait to see what he does in the future for this club, because he's been a tremendous signing. But yeah, 9 for me.
Yeah, Dan, high praise for Konate for sure.
Yeah, can't disagree with what Connor said. Yeah, I'd give him a 9. Absolute unit, isn't he? You can't believe he's 22. He's so strong. He's so fast. And he's added a couple of goals to his game, hasn't he? I know we'll probably... Yeah. I don't know how much time we've got in terms of going on to the Champions League selection. I think that's the biggest selection dilemma for Klopp. I was sort of sure he was going to play Konate a few weeks ago. And I thought he'd play Matip in the FA Cup final to sort of soften the blow somewhat, but he went the other way. And then I was just thinking, Benzema's a bit of a wily old fox, isn't he? And I just thought maybe Matip's got a bit more big game experience, a bit of an older head, and he might go for Matip. But honestly, that is such a tough choice. But yeah, I'd give it Konate a 9. What a player he's been.
He's been excellent. Excellent signing as well. Varane does have to play beside Maguire, though. That would make anyone look shaky. Well said,
True,
Brian.
But then, even for France, he hasn't been that good. Varane, like when he's got Sergio Ramos next to him, then sure, yeah, he looks amazing. But he doesn't look amazing. The last year and a half, he hasn't looked good at all.
Yeah, definitely. And this guy, we all said at the start of the season, just keep fit. And oh my days, this has been his best season in a Liverpool shirt. The smiling giraffe, what we like to call him, the fantastic celebrations we have. Joel Matip, for me, is getting a 10 out of 10. Because this season alone, I can look at so many important goals he has scored. Villa away. We had the Southampton goal away as well. We've been saying it for ages and ages and ages. He was always going to score one of those ones where he was going to go from defence and go on a little bit of an adventure and actually score. And he managed to do it against Leeds. So for me, Joel Matip has had his best season in the Liverpool shirt. I gave him a 9 at the start of the season. It has to be a 10 out of 10 for Mr. Joel Matip. Connor, what are you giving Matip?
10 out of 10. He's been brilliant, hasn't he? And do you know what? And I'll be brutally honest. At the end of last season, I was like, if Liverpool can't think that he can stay fit for a season, maybe it's time to look at potential replacements for him. But this season, of course, he's been 100% fit for the entirety of the season, and it was never the case of, is Joel Matip a good player? He's a phenomenal player, but when he's fit, that was the biggest question. For me, he is the most underrated centre-back in the world. People overlook Joel Matip constantly, and this season he's proved without a shadow of a doubt he's amazing. It's 100% a 10 for me.
I know, and it just makes that big decision even more difficult, Dan, when you've got Joel Matip and Ibrahima Konate going for that one position alongside Virgil. It's going to be such a tough choice for Jurgen.
100%, mate. As I say, it's the one position where I just think wouldn't want to make that call, and it's just toss of a coin stuff for me. But for that one, as I say, I'm sure Klopp won't just toss a coin. I'm sure he's got some sort of tactical plan, or at least I hope he has. But yeah, very, very difficult to call. And I would give Matip a 9.5 for this season, just because I don't even know why, really. Probably a 10, but I'll just give him a 9.5 just because he's not Van Dijk. But we've managed to, in terms of his injuries, we've managed to manage them, haven't we, his game time a little bit more. And that's obviously enlarged because of Konate slipping in so seamlessly. So I'll go for a 9.5 for Joel.
Do you guys think, obviously before we move on to the midfielders, do you guys think that Konate being there has made Matip a better player this season?
I don't think it's made him a better. I think he's always been top class, Joel. I think it's just that he's been able to really concentrate on the domestic league games, hasn't he?
And I think as well the best thing for Joel has been the fact that there's been someone there to replace him in the cup games. Joe Gomez has been there, Ibu's been there. Normally, Liverpool unfortunately have the habit of having Virgil Van Dijk fit, and then it's a rotation then for the other spot of the team, because normally Joe Gomez is fit for like 20 games. Then it was he get injured, then Joel Matip would be there for a big period of the season. Then Dejan Lovren would be there beforehand, and that's always been the thing for Liverpool. But we've had pretty much a full squad for a big period of the season. So I don't think quality wise he's always been there, hasn't he?
It has, yeah. It's always been about sort of fitness with him, and I just feel that he's just been excellent. He really, really has. We're not going to rate Nat Phillips because he's obviously been on loan at Bournemouth, and we're not going to rate Neco Williams either. But to be fair, Neco Williams has scored an absolute couple of bangers for Fulham as well, but he has been on loan as well. We move into midfield now, and the Hoover, we'd like to call him Fabinho. Connor, you gave him a 9 at the start of the season. What would you give Fabinho for the full season?
10. Again, I hate giving people like loads of 10s because I think like, just give him a 10. But honest to God, like Fabinho, he's been tremendous all season, hasn't he? We loved him last year, didn't we, for him just being at centre-back and being able to play centre-back. But this year, he, again, has got to play his role 100% of the time. And he's just been flawless every single time.
Yeah.
For some reason, he's turned into R9 this season because he has 8 goals in all competitions or 6 goals in all competitions this season. But yeah, he's been nothing short of brilliant. Again, if you look at who could be up there for Liverpool's Player of the Year, I think people will have their own opinions on it. But Fabinho is definitely up there, and he is just tremendous. And yeah, it's a 10 for me.
Yeah, Dan, what are you giving Fabinho? Big news as well. He says he's ready for the Champions League final, so that's a big boost for us as well.
Awesome, brilliant news. I'm going to give him an 8.5. I think he's been good, and he's had, not just good, by the way, he's been brilliant, but just the odd game here and there. And I'm just thinking, what was the game he got injured in? Was that Villa?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Villa, as an example of that, and just that first half an hour there, I know he might have been tired, but he did look really leggy. And just every now and again he'll have the odd game like that where he'll just get legged by somebody. And you think, well, what happened there? But yeah, overall, another solid season. Yeah, some really important goals, but I'll just come down a bit and give him an 8.5.
That's fine. I'm sticking with a 9. I think Firmino has been excellent as well. 9 for Firmino, 9.5, 9.5. Hello, Cedric, 9.9. Wow. Not quite a 10 then. To our... How do you describe Thiago Alcantara, ladies and gentlemen? An absolute magician at work. Connor, at the start of the season, you give Thiago an 8. We all said at the time it's all about fitness for Thiago. My goodness me, Thiago, whenever he has played, he just makes our midfield a lot better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've obviously seen him earlier on in the season at home against Southampton when he just completely, bossed the midfield. And I thought, and he's just done it again, hasn't he? Liverpool are a different machine under Thiago. That Manchester United performance was nothing short of excellence. He is pushing near a 10 for me. It's a 9.5 for me. Just on the overall of the season, if we're talking about just all the games that Thiago's been involved with, it would be up there with a 10. But
yeah,
you have to take the season as a whole. He did miss a big part of like the middle portion of the season, which you don't know what could have been the other outcomes of those games. But for me, every single time Thiago touches the ball, he just turns something into magic, doesn't he? But 9.5 for me.
Yeah, I've gone with a 9 for Thiago. I give him a 7 to start the season. Dan, what would you give Thiago?
Yeah, he's what a player, mate. What a player. Yeah, I'm gonna go with you, Doug. I'm gonna give him a 9. But like this season, I remember last season he seemed to be almost a shoo-in for the yellow card. He seemed to go to ground with some tackling from almost impossible angles where he was almost certain to give a foul away, and he did quite a lot. But he seems to have eradicated that from his game this season. And obviously, some of the performances put in, like Connor mentioned here, Man United. Oh my God, wow, what a player! Yeah, I like what Klopp said as well. If I knew how good you was, I would have signed you 9 years here. Not 9 years earlier, 4 years earlier, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I think Thiago replied to that, and you've taught me how to run.
Absolutely love him as a footballer as well. Thiago a 10. Thiago's pushing a 10. Konate 9. Matip a 10. Thiago with an 18. 18 age. Yeah, just some of the things he does is just filth. And if I'm being honest, that Manchester United performance was just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Thiago 9.5, Firmino 8, Thiago 9.5. Probably the best player we've had in that position. Yeah, probably the best since one certain Xabi Alonso.
I think he's much better than Alonso. I think his passing's more incisive.
Yeah, I think so as well. This is a hard one. James Milner. Connor, you gave him a 6 at the start of the season. What would you give James freaking Milner? Because I know Liz is watching.
Again, it's another hard one. With Milner. What did I give him mid-season? Was it
6?
6. I'll go 7.5 for Milner. That might be a bit low for Milner. Again, he's just there, isn't he, to be the guy. And when he is there, actually no, I'll go an 8 for Milner. I think that when he has played this season, he's been brilliant. Southampton, brilliant, phenomenal. And again, versatility for James Milner. But that isn't what James Milner does best for me. I think it's off the field stuff, with all the young lads. He goes to, under 23 games sometimes. He goes, even if he's not playing and if he's not part of the 11, he goes away at games sometimes. So, he's phenomenal, isn't he? And I hope he signs the new deal. in the summer. For Liverpool, I think 1 year would still be brilliant for people on and off the field. But yeah, I'm going to go 8 for James Milner.
8. Dan, what have you given Milner?
Yeah, I'm tempted to go with an 8, but I think that might just be a slight bit of recency bias where he's had some really good games, obviously recently. So I'm going to go 7.5. I think he's been really versatile for us again, and he's had some great games. But thinking back to the early part of the season, I know it wasn't his fault. He played out of position, but he really struggled in 1 or 2 games. I remember the Man City game. He was lucky not to get sent off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he seems to have come on again now, strong again. And I think, I'd be delighted if he got another new contract. I think that'd be good for Liverpool. I think it'd be good for him as well.
Yeah,
for prolonging his career. Yeah, so 7.5.
Yeah, I've given him a 7 as well, because he does a job for you. He's a 7 or an 8 out of 10 every single game he plays, and that Newcastle game at St James's was a very good Milner performance. I thought the performance against Southampton, I thought he was really, really good as well. So
in 2 positions.
Oh yeah, absolutely brilliant. Agreed. Milner 7. James freaking Milner gets 11. Says Liz. Millie 8.5. 7 from Chris. 8.5 from Jeannie. Solid 7 from Milner. Never lets you down. No, definitely not. Rabina Man gets a 7. I like Rabina Man. I like that. Liz is blushing, guys. 7 on the pitch plus 5 points for off the pitch contributions. Yeah, I like that. I do like that. He's definitely signing. Yeah, he's not leaving. Definitely. Milner keeps going. Absolute machine. Just because Liz will beat me up 10. Ooh. Because Liz will beat me up. Interesting. Cedric Glover, for everyone, you could have your opinion. Klopp said earlier that Origi is leaving all of the players out of contract. Hello. Next year, possibly 1,000 videos. Yeah, I am kind of getting up to that wee milestone. 8. Do you see Inverness winning the 2 matches? Yes, I do, Ballum. I do, Ballum. But we'll move on to Connor's favourite player, Naby Keita. At the start of the season, you gave him an 8. I think he's been pretty good, Naby, considering that some of the games that he has played. I think he's been pretty good, and I thought he was very good in the FA Cup final. I thought he played very, very well in the FA Cup final. So what would you give Naby, lad?
10? No, 10. Naby. Go 8.5 for Naby, for me. I think it's hard to really, first half of the season he was excellent, wasn't he? In that left-sided midfield while Thiago wasn't there.
Yeah,
and especially even when he's on that right hand side, where you look at that Manchester City game, his counter pressing was phenomenal. Probably one of the best games in Liverpool show. Obviously, the Manchester United game earlier on in the season.
Yeah.
Another tremendous performance. It's an 8.5 for me. I would like to go up to a 9, but I think you haven't seen that much of Naby. Because we've seen the likes of, Fabinho, Thiago, Jordan Henderson quite a lot. And I think when Naby is called upon, he's brilliant. He has been brilliant. But I think that, especially, if we look ahead of the Champions League final, does he get in that midfield 3? You don't know. Depends what Jurgen wants. But yeah, I think this has been probably Naby's best season. Has come at a crucial time as well, especially with contract situation coming up. So yeah, 8.5 for me.
Yeah, Dan, could you see Naby potentially getting an extension on his contract?
Oh yeah, you'd be foolish, wouldn't you, to let someone like him go for free? There's not been much talk of it, has there? But I know there's obviously a lot of deals coming up. But you'd be crazy to let him go for free, one way or another.
Aye. What would you give Naby, lad?
I think I'd give him an 8, mate. I think it's definitely his best, most consistent season for Liverpool so far. And obviously, he's fingers crossed so far. He's been lucky with the injuries, hasn't he? In terms of what Connor was saying about the Champions League final, I think he's the other maybe. And probably prior to the Villarreal away game, I actually thought he might get the nod. But just the way we seemed so nervous in the first half there, I've sort of went back towards thinking Klopp will go with a few of the more sort of experienced heads. I.e., it'll be Henderson who starts there. I know they did recover in the second half, but they wouldn't get that chance against Real Madrid if they start nervously, which is why I sort of think Henderson will play now instead of Naby, and Matip will probably play instead of Konate. But we'll see. But Naby's had a pretty solid season, and I agreed last week. I thought he was unlucky to go off, and it was one of his better games for Liverpool.
I kind of agree. I think if we were to do our Champions League 11 right now, I think there'd be two positions that I think would be probably debatable, which is Konate or Matip, and then I think it'll be Henderson or Keita is the other position.
I 100% agree. Yeah,
because there's no chance for Firmino and Thiago going to be not in the midfield. I think as safely as that. So let's go and see what some of you are saying. Naby Lad 9, Naby 8.5, getting better and better. I give Keita a rating of a pass for a complete hospital exam. Jesus Christ. I did see that. In fairness, they should all be getting 10s because we are having a phenomenal season and still in the mix for 4. Yeah, that is very, very true. Yeah, 1 or 2 cups already. Fair, Mr. Morrissey, the score is special. Honestly, though, 8 for Keita. Whenever he's played, he's been good. 2 more trophies, everyone gets 20. Yeah, definitely was as well. El Capitan, Jordan Henderson. I give him a 7.5. Connor gave him a 7 at the start of the season. What would you give Hendo? And it's been nice to see the Hendo Shuffle come out again.
It's a 20 just for that. Realistically, how good has it been seeing the Hendo Shuffle back? Of course, we could still see another twice this season, which would be amazing. For me, it would be, again, what you give Hendo. I think it's pushing towards 8.5, 9. That's for me. I'm gonna go 9 for Jordan Henderson. I think, especially again, we've already spoken about Andy Robertson and so on. I think at the start of the season, Hendo struggled a little bit, and I know plenty of people were having a go with Hendo and saying, oh, he hasn't really performed as well as with his new contract and so on. But then the second half of the season, he's been exactly what Liverpool need from Jordan Henderson, that leader on the pitch. That game that Dan mentioned with Villarreal away, it's that scream Jordan Henderson for me, especially that first half. And he's so good. Sometimes I think people overlook what Jordan Henderson does at times as well. The Everton performance as well, away from home and at home, I thought pretty decent. But yeah, Hendo, he's just missed the consistency, isn't he? It's just him and James Milner all the time. And yeah, I think, like we've already spoken about, I think the Champions League final, that midfield spot is up for grabs, but I think it will be Hendo's. And yeah, if we see another 2 Hendo shuffles, everyone, like people already mentioned in chat, everyone's getting 20 this season. But yeah, I'm gonna give him a 9 for me, mate.
Yep, I would agree with you. I've got given a 9 as well. Dan, what would you give Hendo?
Just slightly off it. Not much. I give him an 8.5. Yeah, I think as we, again, the common theme seems to be that he's improved as the season's progressed, and it's been another excellent season. I thought last week actually in the was one of his best games of the season, playing in that sort of in the number 6, where I was a little bit worried without Firmino, but I thought Henderson was absolutely brilliant there.
Yeah, definitely. Apologies, my hay fever is playing up, but I'm okay. Oh, my captain 9 says Liz. I think Henderson might just get the nod over Keita and Pash purely for the presence. 100% agree with you, Brian. I think it'll be Hendo, Thiago, and Fab. Hendo gets an 8, a point for the shuffle. 8 for the skipper, Hendo. Twitter LFC fans are weird for sure. Henderson's captain did well. When every trophy is captain there, which is amazing. LFC legend. Yeah, of course he is. Hendo 8 had a different form in the middle of the season, but the edges never dropped. 8. No one fires up the squad like Hendo. Nope, absolutely not. El Capitan Hendo 9 dancing. As much as I praise Keita, still 4 years later. There we go indeed. Oh, this is a hard one. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Yeah.
Do you want to move on?
has he played? Has he played much?
It's so hard to rate him, isn't it? Because he hasn't really played.
It's been disappointing though, again, hasn't it? Though for me, the big problem with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, all right, you got the likes of Thiago, Henderson, and and so on, and Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott and so on. His whole attitude this season has been terrible for me. That Nottingham Forest game where I think that's the first time he plays, and he just doesn't look bothered to play, and it's like. And it's frustrating, and yet, look, it must be very frustrating for Ox because a couple of seasons ago he was, right in that conversation to be in that Liverpool midfield without a doubt, and Liverpool have moved on in some sense, and that isn't his fault. But coming into the season, I was very optimistic for what Ox could do because again, it's that problem of pre-season curse. He was tremendous throughout pre-season. I looked up for it again, and he's been terrible. I don't want to really call it that he's been Liverpool's worst player, but for me, he has been in that sense. Yeah. But I think he will leave Liverpool next season, and it's not his fault in some sense because we have moved on from that Ox style of player.
Yeah, I mean, you gave him a 4.5 earlier in the season. Are you going to stick with that?
I think 4.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dad, what would you give Ox?
Yeah, I mean, he's barely played, hasn't he? I feel a bit sly on him. I suppose, sometimes you can have these little sliding doors moments. I remember he got a good assist, didn't he, against Brighton? But then, of course, we drew the game, so everyone sort of is on a bit of a down, aren't they? If we'd have went on and won that game and that, people go, oh, I remember that great. He might have went on a little bit of a run of getting a few games and that, but because once it all went wrong, that was sort of the end of it. But he's barely played, as I feel a bit sorry for anyone like that who doesn't get a game. And I know the odd game where you do come in, it's hard, isn't it? Where you've got no rhythm and maybe you're playing with a slightly second string team and whatever else. And so I'll give him a 5. Feel a bit sorry for him, but I think a move will be on the cards.
Yeah, I think he'll be on his way. Apparently, there's talk of is it a swap deal with Jared Bowen? I've heard a lot of people saying that.
A couple of years ago, I would have thought, he's got West Ham writ all over him, but West Ham now under Moyes, I think, are a bit more savvy, aren't they? I think Moyes is bringing that Everton thing to them, where they're being a bit more careful with the money. So I don't think that'd be a great move for them.
It'd be interesting to see how much money Liverpool would want for him because exactly. It's like yesterday the report of Taki coming out about £17 million Liverpool want for him, but with 1 year left on his deal, Liverpool gonna ask 10, 15. It does depend, and it'll be interesting to see where he does go. Maybe Southampton might go with him, maybe a Bournemouth, because they're coming up.
Yeah. Maybe even Newcastle are faff for that, aren't they? And they might be trying to, just boost the numbers and get a bit of, bit of quality, bit of.
Brian said his wife and family are desperate to get back to London, apparently. So maybe a move to West Ham might be on the cards then.
Yeah, it's fair enough. Isn't his partner from the northeast though? I would have thought that might have it.
Perry Edwards. I think she's South Shields, is she? No.
I think she is, although I presume she obviously being a pop singer, she was probably living in London for a while, wasn't she, with him while he was at Arsenal? But who knows? But I just feel like West Ham have moved on a bit on that. That was something like they would have done a few years ago, but a bit of a dodgy injury-prone play, sort of like Andy Carroll or whatever like that. But we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. The next one's tricky as well. Curtis Jones, again, another player who hasn't really played much. I mean, earlier in the season we gave it not available, and I'm kind of sort of now thinking maybe that's probably the only correct term for me, Connor.
Yeah, no, I would agree. You can't really give. It's the same with Harvey Elliott, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's hard for both of them lads because they've played, and Curtis Jones, we're talking recency bias, of course, had a good game against Southampton, but he hasn't really done much on a season where, again, we've had pretty much a full strength team. So, is Curtis going to get ahead of the likes of, the normal 3, Naby as well? No, he's not. So, but when he has played, he has been really, really good. I know that, the Southampton game, I remember Man City at Anfield, I think he played as well. He's pretty decent in that as well. So yeah, he's had decent games, but it is hard to mark someone that's played, very, very limited football.
Yeah. Are we all in agreement that NA is probably the best
No,
one for Curtis Jones?
no, I am going to disagree. Yeah, he has actually played. Last season, let me have a little Kostas Jones moment here because I was thinking out this like last season. I think he played 34 games in all comps, and this season I think he's played about 25. I think, which obviously is a downturn, isn't it? And when you think about we're going to have played every game this season. I know he had that bad eye injury, didn't he, which ruled him out for a while, but. Just generally, yeah, I'd give him a 6 cases, but I do think it's going to be a big season for him next season because I don't think he's kicked on from last season. And you're starting to wonder, aren't you? There's obviously younger players coming in. I mean, there's a lot of talk about that Chuchemani guy coming in, isn't it? Yeah. And so it's nothing, football doesn't stand still. And you're looking at him now thinking, he needs to start kicking on. And he hasn't this season. I'd love him to, by the way. I'm obviously Scouser, and we all love the youth team players to come in, but I do think it's going to have to be a big one for him next season.
Do we think we might get a loan move to a Premier League side, like a Villa?
Oh, he would 100% get a loan move, but whether he wants to stick around next season, whether Klopp wants to stick him around.
Exactly. I think if Liverpool only brought in one midfield, if it was Tchouaméni, then I think Curtis Jones 100% stays next season. But if Liverpool bring more than one centre mid, I think Jurgen might say to him, "Look, go on loan, at Aston Villa, just for reference, say, have a season where you can build up and then come back then the following season, potentially a better player."
Yeah, I think Villa would be a smart move for him, mate, under the scouts of Stevie Gerrard and all that. So I think Gerrard had him in the youth team, didn't he, as well, when he was youth team manager, wasn't he, for a short period at Liverpool? That might not be a smart move for him. Well, sorry, it might be a smart move for him. But I definitely think one way or another next season's make or break really for Keita. Either he goes on loan and has a great season, or he has a great season with a little poor season, and then we'll work out what we've got. Cause he's getting a bit.
I'm happy to give him a 6 if you're a corner.
Yeah, I give him a 6. Yeah,
he's had some great games. By the way, the Porto game away, he was involved in about 4 goals.
He was brilliant in that game. Yeah, I think he is. Does everyone agree that he's a bit of a scapegoat for a certain number of fans? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's just Twitter, though, isn't it? Like, you got
idiots on Twitter.
You got idiots that will say that, you have some idiots, that say that, Virgil Van Dijk is shite, and that you get people like that. It's sad. But yeah, he does come over as a scapegoat, and especially, when people are like, obviously Trent's, song scouts in the team and that, and then people are like, oh, Curtis Jones, it's not really that, but he's a scouser. We like having more scousers in the team, and it's brilliant to see. But again, he's a phenomenal player. It's just a problem at the minute. You have that, you have the midfield that we have.
Yeah. Definitely. Liz says Jones gets a 7 for potential. Jones 5 needs a loan next season, in my opinion. Jones 6.5 showed improvement, limited playing time. A loan did Elliott good. That's what Jones needs. I would 100% agree. Jones 7 says Cedric. So that's the goalkeepers. That's the fullbacks, the centre backs, the centre midfielders. And now we will go on to our forwards. And there has been, let me just say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 forwards. We'll start with Harvey Elliott because he's obviously had that injury. That goal against Cardiff was amazing. The one off the volley. And I thought he played very well against Southampton.
I thought it was Shrewsbury, that goal he scored.
No,
Cardiff, yeah. Either way, he didn't go anyway, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. It's been a very good breakthrough season for Harvey Elliott, I feel. What would you give him for the season, Connor? You gave him an 8 to begin the season.
Did I?
Yeah.
Feels like that's pretty high.
He was incredible at the start of the season, though, wasn't he? The first 3 or 4 games, I thought that was it. He was in.
I think, again, this season, next season, if we get that same start to the season that was this season, and he stayed, obviously, what happened was awful and that, but he can stay, fit that, what a player we have. We're all speaking about Tchouaméni and Bellingham and that, and getting all excited about transfers, but what a player we have. I thought it was huge as well at the start of the season. Him, when you saw him playing, we all thought he'd have high hopes and high expectations coming into the season, and then Klopp starts in the first few games and then plays him in a huge game against Chelsea. And he was absolutely tremendous. And then, of course, what happened. But again, I think Klopp's done the right thing this season in, just rebuilding him and getting him going again for next season. Of course, that goal against Cardiff, I thought he had a very decent game against Southampton. I'd go, if we're talking just the start of the season, you'd say an 8 again, but I know it's very hard to rate because he hasn't played anything, has he, realistically, since. So if you want to split it, it's 8 start the season, but then nothing then realistically for the rest of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him an 8. I gave him a 9 for some reason at the start of the season. Dan, what would you give Harvey?
7, mate. As you say, he was absolutely phenomenal at the start of the season, and not being for that injury, I think he would have nailed down that third midfield spots along with Thiago and Firmino. He come back, didn't he? And he had that brilliant game, as you've just mentioned. Sorry, I thought it was Shrewsbury. Obviously, it was Cardiff. And he looked brilliant, didn't he? He looked razor sharp. But then he had a pretty weak game against AC Milan, didn't he? Remember, he got stars against AC Milan in the quarterfinals. And then suddenly then he just seems to have dropped out. And I don't know whether there's maybe something going on that we don't know about. But it almost felt like he just clipped his wings a little bit. And just sort of took him out the limelight. But then he come back on Tuesday, was it? And I thought he was excellent. I thought he was one of his best games again. So yeah, I'll give him a 7. Really excited for next season for Harvey.
Yeah, and as Asla says, Elliot is only 19. We haven't seen what he can do yet. No, definitely not. Anyway, right, we'll do this. We'll do this in the numbers. Roberto Firmino. Bobby Dazzler, Connor, you gave him a 7 at the start of the season. What would you give him for the whole season?
Give him an 8. Again, a pretty injury-impacted season for Bobby, unfortunately. But when he has played, he's been brilliant. Inter Milan away, for me, has been his game of the season. Drawing in defenders, getting that big goal, a big second goal. To get us to the tie practically. And again, Bobby, and the Southampton game as well, for recency bias, but the Southampton game, he's by far, man of the match. And, Bobby is kind of taken, the back seat, hasn't he? Even when he has been fit, you've had Luis Diaz, Jota come in and, people, that's the main team now. But again, Bobby's just been brilliant when he has been called upon. Be interesting to see what happens with him. In terms of contract wise, I think he might resign, but don't know particularly. But yeah, give him an 8.
Yep, Dan, what would you give Bobby?
I'll give him a 7, mate. I think when he plays, he tends to do okay, but I think you just gradually, I've said this every season, you're just gradually seeing this decline in Bobby. In terms of goals and assists, obviously his peak was 17, 18. It just seems to be going down each year. And in terms of his contract, you're starting to see the injuries creep in now as well. And I know I'm sure Klopp would love to keep him because we know how much he likes him. But I think he might be one who maybe sort of ends up leaving the club, to be honest with you. Because as I say, the injuries are starting to get more and creep in a little bit now. But by the way, he was absolutely outstanding on Tuesday night. But yeah, I'll give Bobby a 7.
Yeah, it was. It was indeed. Should have had that goal as well, just was offside. Senior 8, teeth 10.5. Yeah, he must have the whitest teeth in the Liverpool team. For one of my favourite players.
Sorry, can I just interrupt there? That quick, because you won't have read this because it was like a local thing. They had like the Liverpool dentist in our local paper who does the teeth, and basically they have like a scale of like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And one's the brightest, and Bobby wanted to go beyond that. So they had to make like a new teeth whitener for Bobby. It's called like Ultra or something. It's like beyond 1. Sorry, I'm digressing a little bit, but because you mentioned that, I just had to get it in.
That is what you call pointless information, but thank you. Thank you. That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant.
There's just going to be a dentist now in the comments, just like, oh, I'm interested in this.
Yeah.
He's not the player he was, but he's still class. Yeah, I've just seen that. Class is permanent. Yeah, I've given Bobby an 8. Sadio Mane. Oh, wow. Sadio Mane. At the start of the season, I give him a 7.5. Now, I actually have to say, sorry, Sadio, because you have undoubtedly, since the AFCON, been one of our most, I think, improved players, I would say. Because if you look at the position he's actually taken now in the forward line, he looks as lethal as ever for me. Sadio Mane, for me, he's nearer on a 10 for me. I'm giving him a 9.5.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm terrified of Bayern Munich taking him off our hands.
I know.
Especially with, Robert Lewandowski. Apparently he's trying always to get to Barcelona. But yeah, what a second half of the season Sadio's had. I think a little bit of and it's blame, I think, on all of us, the fact that we, not overlook Sadio, but, for how good Mo was doing, at the halfway stage of the season, you're like, oh, well, Sadio, he's not really doing much. He's not performing to his best. And then, AFCON, wins AFCON, scores the winning pen, scores the winning pen to send Senegal to the World Cup, obviously, wins the Carabao Cup here, then the FA Cup, potentially still the Premier League and Champions League. We talk about Ballon d'Or, potential Mo and Benzema. For me, if Liverpool win the Champions League, Sadio Mane is without doubt, in that name category as well. I think Sadio Mane's been brilliant setting off the season, and I am really, really worried that Bayern Munich are going to take him. Whether that be this summer, next summer, who knows? But yeah, Sadio's been amazing. But yeah, 9.5 for me, mate.
Dad?
9, mate. I thought he was solid enough in the first half of the season, but yeah, since he's come back from the AFCON, he just seems to have found a little shard of confidence, and also obviously the positional streak goal more central seems to have helped him. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, 9, mate.
Yeah, definitely. Mane 9, 10, 15, 9.5. Mane the centre of fire. Yeah, certainly is. 9.99. 9.5 with the GOAT sign. 9, so unanimous 9s there. Mo Salah. At the start of the season, me and Connor gave him a 10. Have we kept a 10?
You tell me first.
Yeah, for me, he is, because he's still the top goal scorer.
Yeah, it's the fact that people, and again, social media, will turn around and go, oh, Mo hasn't done anything, over the last month or so. He hasn't scored goals, he hasn't done this, he hasn't done that. But over a season, he's been by far the best player in the Premier League. And I've seen, Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville saying that, Kevin De Bruyne and Son are now the best players in the league. It's like, no, just no.
No way.
Recency bias, I think that is practically, because the last couple of weeks they have been amazing, especially Son's been amazing for Spurs, to get them into the top 4. But for me, Mohamed Salah, most goals in the league, most assists, been on fire since minute 1 of this season. Of course, great news that him and Virgil are back in training today. So
big news.
That's big news for Wolves, and of course the Champions League final as well. But yeah, it's still a 10 for me.
Dan?
9.5, mate. Obviously 10 the first half of the season. But although he has chipped in with a few goals since post AFCON, they have dried up somewhat. But he has had some good assists, by the way. But yeah, the reality is he's still top scorer, just about top scorer, and fingers crossed Son doesn't do anything on Sunday, but he's playing Norwich, isn't he? So doesn't bode well, really, but because it'd be great for Mo to get the top scorer, because I think he does value the individual awards as much as the team awards. But
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, 9.5 for Mo. Brilliant.
Salah 10. Salah gets a 6. A 6?
No, that's a typo, surely.
That has to be a typo. Mo 9.5. Haters can suck it. Salah 9. Yeah, people were saying he didn't deserve the Football Writers Player of the Year, which is mental. 9 poor since AFCON, Salah 8 as well. To the unsung hero, and there's been so many you can say in this Liverpool team, Taki Minamino, top scorer in the League Cup for Liverpool, top scorer in the FA Cup for Liverpool. That goal he took against Southampton was excellent the other night. Connor, you gave him a 7 at the start of the season. Has that changed for you about Taki?
I'm gonna give him an 8. I'd like to give him a 10 for what he's done. I think, what is it? Is it 10? Is it 10 goals in 9 shots or something like that? I'm not quite sure on the stat. But he's been tremendous. Cup hero for Liverpool. I was kind of shocked yesterday. I was watching Jack's show yesterday, and supposedly he didn't get an FA Cup medal at the time, which was ridiculous if that is true. I don't know if that's still true now, but apparently they ran out of medals before Taki had one. But again, he's been tremendous. And again, with Divock Origi, going to AC Milan, again, Taki is that, could be that guy now for Liverpool to come off the bench and make an impact. Southampton, phenomenal goal. You wouldn't tell by Martin Tyler's commentary, but
that was ridiculous.
But yeah, Taki for me 8. I think what he's done has been phenomenal, but of course he doesn't get into the main team, does he? The main Premier League or Champions League, but what he has done been brilliant. But yeah, 8 for me.
Yeah, he has. Dan?
Yeah, I think 8, mate. He's been unlucky, hasn't he? I don't know whether if he played more, his sort of goals return wouldn't sort of match up to what it is at the moment. He might get sort of found out a bit, if you want to call it that. In terms of the medals, they only have so many on the day, but I think normally what happens is then the club then submits an form to the FA, who then send out the medals that they need. You'll get one eventually, but I always think, to be honest with you, if you didn't really play on the final, you'd always feel a bit disappointed anyway, wouldn't you? Even if you got your medal and whatever else. But he's done brilliant, top scorer in both the cups, and we will miss him next season. Same with Origi, because there's no way we could have competed for all 4 trophies without players like those in the early downs. But
definitely not. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I've given him an 8.5 just because of obviously being top scorer in both the League Cup and the FA Cup. I just think that just takes something else. That whenever he's played as well, he looks like he's the real deal. It's just unfortunately he's not been played much. Taki gets a 9.5 in the cup matches, 8.5. Breaks XG, playing time and attitude, fantastic. Martin Tyler is a douchebag. Martin Tyler is shit. Yeah. Quite literally. I really hope he doesn't. He'll probably commentate on City's match at the weekend. You know what he's like anyway. To our number 20, Diogo Jota. At the start of the season, Connor, you gave him a 9. What would you give Jota for the remainder of the season, I should say?
I think, again, it's another difficult one. I think I want to give him a 9. I think many people might give him 8.5. Of course, got that injury towards the halfway mark, didn't he, of the season? And then of course Luis Diaz, signed for Liverpool, and we all know the rest. But was it 15 Premier League goals this season, 4 assists, over 20 goals in all competitions? He's been tremendous for Liverpool, and again, it's this slander situation again on social media. Don't get why people slander Diogo Jota. He's brilliant. He's one of those people where, and he reminds me a little bit of Fernando Torres in that sense, where he might not pass as well as many people, or he might not give that phenomenal pass, but he shoots and he scores. He's there in certain areas. He's brilliant in low block situations. Remember earlier on the season, his header against Burnley, and other situations like that. But for me, I'm gonna stick with what I went with, and I think Jota's been brilliant. But of course, he has taken a slight back burner because of other people's performances. But I think he's been brilliant this season and exactly what we needed.
Yeah. So 9 for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dan, what would you give Jota?
Nah, mate, he probably would have got a few more, but his goals do seem to have tailed off. I don't think he scored in his last 10 or 11 appearances. And as Connor said, his all-round play's not that great, so if he's not scoring, that's a bit of an issue then. But yeah, but I mean, for his goals earlier in the season, if you look over the season, he's had a quality year for us, and yeah, I'd give him a 9.
Yeah, definitely. 9 says Gary. 9 for Chris. I don't do things in half, Liz. Jota 9. 8 does his job to get his goals. Jota still scores even though he doesn't play well. Yeah. Jota. Fernando Torres. Yes, that was definitely about Fernando Torres. Just 9. Look how many goals he got this season. Yeah. Absolutely.
No, by the way, to answer Brian's question, I'm not saying that he is Fernando Torres, but what I'm saying is he's one of those like players that has that striker style of play where you'll just make that quick turn and just shoot and score. That's what he does. He's brilliant at finding. Like, remember, if you remember Torres back in 2009 against Chelsea, where he just finds those little areas and scores, in a tight situation. That is what Jota does for Liverpool.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. To a man who was brought in January and has... When you talk about January signings, Liverpool have been so good at January signings. Luis Suarez, Virgil van Dijk, of course. Where does Luis Diaz rank in terms of January signings and impact made? Because this is going to determine what I'm going to give him. But for me, Luis Diaz has just slotted into position like he's been playing for Liverpool for a long, long time. For me, it is a 9 for Diaz.
Mm-hmm. He's so good, isn't he? Thank you, Spurs, for trying to get his price down. And we just walked all over it. Yeah, it's a 9.5 for me. He's been nothing short of sensational. Honest to God, we talk, we speak about January signings and what an impact they can make. And when he did sign, it was like, obviously we faced him in the Champions League, and he was by far Porto's best player. And then you go on and watch the videos and look at the stats and that, and he was by miles the best player in the Portuguese league. Yeah. And like just everything about him was like, and like Jurgen said, we've normally taken our time with signings, and especially with a January signing, you expect him not to feature much at all in the whole season. But like Jurgen said, he just walked in and it was like if he's been here for years. He's been tremendous. For me, starts the Champions League final without a shadow of a doubt.
Me too.
And yeah, he's been nothing short of brilliant. So yeah, 9.5 for me.
I mean, Brian has just said Diaz is fucking phenomenal. 9, Dan. Where do you rank Luis Diaz this season?
Brilliant, mate, hasn't he? He's just completely... I mean, the season was going fairly well anyway, but once he's come in, he's just literally touch paper, as they say, hasn't he? It's just went... flew off, and everything's just suck off, and everything's clicked. And we've been brilliant since he come in. Yeah, what a player. What a player. He's brought new things out of Mane. He's just exciting whenever he plays, isn't he? You think about the Villarreal, but he didn't play in the first half, come on in the second half, changed the game. I'm hoping, he's going to start getting a few more goals, because when he cuts in on that right foot, he looks really dangerous. And yeah, I don't even think it's even one simple doubt in my mind that he wouldn't start in that final. I think he's an absolute shoo-in.
I absolutely agree. What would you give him?
9, mate, 9.
9, yeah. I think it's all round 9. And to the last but not least, to a man who will be remembered as a cult hero. I mean, Divock Origi is his last appearance at Anfield on Sunday. I'm going to be so gutted about that. You might see him get on the cup final in the Champions League as well. But when we look back at Divock Origi's goals this season and seasons past, how many important goals are we going to speak about? Barcelona, Tottenham, Wolves this season, and he even scored against the Ev earlier this season as well. Divock Origi I don't usually do this, but for a player who's hardly ever played, and because he is an absolute cult hero and will go down as a living legend, he gets a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah. No question about it, is there? He's been amazing for Liverpool Football Club. All his goals against the EV, I spoke yesterday on my channel, all the goals against the EV, Barcelona, the Champions League final in 2019, the Newcastle winner in that season as well. He's offered us so many memories, and I still think he will offer us one more memory as well. And for me, undoubtedly a club legend, I should say. But yeah, undoubtedly 10 for Divock.
Yeah, Dan, is it a unanimous 10?
Yeah, that'd be a real spoil sport, wasn't it, if I didn't give him a 10. The only thing I always wish for Divock is that, if he just had that mentality of someone like Salah or Mane, that really sort of driven attitude, because he's just such a laid-back guy, but you look at him, he's a great finisher, he's an absolute unit, you don't realise how tall he is, he's about 6'2". He's strong, and you just think, if he really sort of had that killer mentality, how many goals he could have scored, you know what I mean? Because he's scored so many important goals, but he could have been even better. And he seems to have been happy just to drift. And I think but now he's got the big move to AC Milan. They're probably going to win the league in Italy, and he'll be back in the Champions League next season. A great move for him. And listen, if he knuckles down and puts himself to it, you've seen that Italian league's not that strong. He could be top scorer there next season.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Or people give it Origi 10. Origi gets 100,000. I like that. If Diaz finishes improves, player of the season contender, even Ballon d'Or. Yeah, definitely. Origi 7. Let's be sensible now. 3 goals I can think of immediately. Origi, legend, Lord and Savior. 10, 10, and forever 10. The GOAT. Christ. That number plus 27. Origi's a superstar player, but he's contributed to big games where it mattered for you guys. Yeah, sorry, James, had to mention the EV, didn't I? Absolutely love the goal.
He'll be celebrating tonight. Well done to the EV, by the way. That was a huge performance last night.
It was.
By the way, they weren't going to go down anyway because Leeds aren't going to beat Brentford, but it was still an iconic performance. 2-0 down, 3-2 under the lights. Brilliant.
Versus Pickford versus Barcelona versus Spurs. Football's nothing without Origi. FSG out. Origi is an original gold 10 for his commitment to the club. 11 out of 11 for Divock Origi is the GOAT. He's Liverpool FC legend. The games he stepped up in, absolutely incredible, and from 10 million from like when he was in his early 20s. One last moment for him. Yeah, definitely. And a bit harsh, Chris. It is. But what this show has just said all about, there is nobody under a 6 or a 5. That takes levels when we come to rating the players. Obviously, Ox, I think, is probably the only one I think you could probably say is disappointed. But every single player has played their part. And 2 more games, I mean, anything can happen on the final day, Connor. How possible is it that we're going to win the league?
Look, it's all hope, isn't it? But that's what makes it brilliant. We were in the same position 3 years ago when we were hoping Brighton could do a job against this Man City side. But of course, you never know. The what ifs, and there's too many what ifs for me. You've got Stevie G, you've got Phil Coutinho, you've got Danny Ings. There's plenty of ex-Liverpool personnel at that Man City game, and and I know, I think yesterday on Twitter everyone was outraged by Micah Richards' comments about Villa and Jack Grealish and match fixing practically. I think it came out in the last hour that they won't have anything if City win the league for Jack Grealish. But look, for me, that hope is still there. And if it was to happen, I think all of us would lose our minds. But it's been an unbelievable season either way. Compare it to last year. We've said it all season long, Liverpool fans, that this season was the revenge tour for Liverpool, and they've done it, tremendously well. No matter what happens in the next 2 games, if we're just, Carabao Cup and FA Cup winners, it's been a tremendous season. But of course, we could still win everything. We'll be the first club to do it. as well. And hopefully it does happen. But yeah, it's been an amazing season.
It has. Dan, how would you sum up this season?
Incredible, mate, isn't it? And it could be, as Connor said, it could be a quadruple season. It could just be end up with just the 2 cups, and obviously I'm saying just sort of ironically or whatever, because obviously 2 domestic cups is brilliant. I'm sure most people, if you'd offered them that now next season, second in the league, Champions League final, 2 cups, you'd probably take it, wouldn't you? Brilliant season. Sunday, come on. I mean, we've been here before, haven't we? So you can't really expect too much, but listen, it's football, and then the stories sometimes come up, and it's Stevie Gerrard, and it's Coutinho, and it's Ings. And City have won 3 or 4 titles now on the last day, so maybe it's going to turn, but that's going to be hard. I've sort of resigned myself to the fact that it'll be City again, and then who knows, in the Champions League final, it's a 50-50 game for me. Possibly in our favour. I think if we play our best, we'll beat them. But Real, it's one of them games, even if you're 2-0 up with 5 minutes to go, you're going to be thinking, bloody hell, is this Real Madrid's time? So it's going to be a tough game. But what a season of our lives, probably.
Yeah, it has been. Just shows how much your squad depth has improved and how it's motivated the players to fight for them places to start. Oh, GD, it isn't happening. Aston Villa are worse than Tyler. I would say that. I'm going to the game on Sunday, Chris, just in case we do win it. Well, I am going to Liverpool next Saturday to watch the Champions League final and meeting a heck of a lot of people as well. So really looking forward to that. Is it still possible for Man United to end up in the Conference League? Yes, believe it or not, it is. If they lose to Palace and West Ham beat Brighton, then it does happen. It will happen. Wow. Have a great time, Chris. Fairy tale incoming, and yes, Liz. Guys, it's been a fantastic season of another series of the Friday LFC Focus. We're going to still continue after, obviously, next season. Really looking forward to that as well. Connor, thank you very much, as always. Tell me where they can find you.
Thank you for having us on for the season. Of course, looking forward to it already next year. The Cop Council doing Wolves preview now at 9 o'clock. If any of you want to come over and check, of course, Doug's already mentioned it. There's going to be a load of us in Liverpool next week as well. So if anyone is in Liverpool, let us know, because I will be there 100% next week as well.
I didn't know you were coming, Connor. Yeah, I look forward to it.
Yeah, I'm definitely coming 100%.
Dave's coming as well, isn't he?
Yeah, it's going to be a party.
Wow.
It's going to be a load of us. But yeah, it's going to be...
podcast crew.
Well, hopefully it'll be an amazing, weekend. Hopefully, a Champions League. But of course, everyone stay safe. No matter where they're going, because of course, it's still dangerous. You look at Rangers and Frankfurt. How that happened and that, and it's still crazy and that. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoys the next week, because no matter what happens, it's been a phenomenal season.
Yeah, it has been. And Dan, thank you very much as always. Any more plans for your channel?
Mate, you know me. I've got the laziest YouTube channel probably in Britain. But I always say, like, this week I'm gonna do something, but it's not that easy when you're obviously working full time, got family and whatever else. But hopefully I'll do something soon. But yeah, it's been brilliant to have me on. I can't believe it's the last one of the season.
Yeah,
insane, really. But I'm sure you can get me on one of your other shows before August, I'd like to think. And nice speaking to you, and look forward. Fingers crossed, no problems. I'll meet up with you next Saturday.
Yeah, really looking forward to that. As well, also big thanks to Sophie and Jack, and everyone who's obviously turned out on the podcast. Obviously to McMahon and I can't remember who it was last week. Ricky from the 1892 Reds. Yeah,
Jersey Boy, Dave,
Jersey Boy, Dave.
I'm trying to think who else has been on.
So many. Chris Pajak. We've had a Chris Pajak earlier in the season as well.
Yeah, God, that was a big one, wasn't it?
So this show, this Friday show, is just getting bigger and bigger. And it will definitely be better and better as well. Because the next time we do one of these shows, I will be a married man. Sophie will be a married woman. Actually, she'll be on a honeymoon. Actually, I'm just thinking that she'll be on honeymoon in August.
Too old.
Oh yeah, but no. Thank you very much for your support for the season. We'll be back in August. Not sure when, but we'll be back.
Charity Shield. Charity Shield.
Charity Shield, yeah, definitely.
And
Brian, thank you. Yes, my stag do is next Friday as well, so that's why there's not a show next week. Otherwise, we would have been previewing the Champions League final. But stay tuned, there probably will be a Champions League preview anyway. But guys, thank you very much for your support throughout the season, and we'll be back with you in August. I'll see you very, very soon. I do have a match preview tomorrow at 1 o'clock with the lads from Sweet and Sour Soccer. That should be very, very interesting indeed. But never say never. We could still win this league. Let's see what happens on Sunday and go to the Champions League final.
See you later, guys.
See you later. You'll never walk alone. Cheers, gents.